The water is perfectly warm. The bathroom is completely quiet. You stand under the steady stream. But your mind is absolutely deafening. You are locked in a vicious argument. Your hands are clenched tightly into fists. Your jaw is rigidly tense. You are defending your competence against a coworker who is miles away. You rehearse the perfect, devastating comeback. You simulate their ruthless counterattack. Your heart rate aggressively accelerates. Your breathing becomes shallow and erratic. The steam rises around you, yet you feel cold with a sudden wave of anxiety. This is not just casual thinking. This is a fully immersive, visceral simulation of conflict. You are experiencing a profound state of mental burnout. You replay every past slight with agonizing clarity. You anticipate every future criticism with dreadful precision. Your nervous system is reacting as if the threat is physically standing right in front of you in this very room. You wipe the warm water from your face. But you cannot wash away the crushing exhaustion. You've just fought a brutal war in a completely empty space. This is the internal battle of a mind that cannot feel safe. There is a cruel paradox in this modern existence. The moment your physical body stops moving, your brain immediately starts a violent riot. You are not fundamentally flawed. You are simply trapped in a relentless, exhausting cycle of invisible self-defense. But what exactly forces your biology to wage this exhausting battle against ghosts? Society constantly insists that you should just gracefully live in the present moment. Pop psychology gurus confidently tell you that true mindfulness simply means clearing all your racing thoughts. They eagerly claim that these endless imaginary conflicts in the shower are a glaring sign of emotional instability or severe anxiety disorder. But the most cruel missolve of modern wellness culture is the toxic idea that you are constantly failing at being a functional adult. Why does the generic advice to just relax always make you feel intensely worse? Why do FORC attempts to meditate and empty your mind feel like being trapped in an agonizing mental prison? You are instructed to maintain a perfect, serene state of consciousness at all times. You try desperately to suppress the simulated arguments with your colleagues. Yet the internal voices only grow significantly louder and much more aggressive. This is a completely distorted view of how the human nervous system actually operates under the surface. You're not stubbornly refusing to find inner peace. Your mind is absolutely not broken just because it vigorously refuses to remain quiet in an empty room. The profound failure here does not lie anywhere within your character, your emotional maturity, or your willpower. It lies entirely in a massive, fundamental misunderstanding of human biology. What if this relentless mental rehearsal is not a psychological defect? What is really taking control of your brain when you step into the silence? But you are absolutely not losing your grip on reality. You are not going crazy. Your brain is simply executing a highly sophisticated biological program. When the external noise of the day finally stops, your mind does not just peacefully shut down. Instead, it powerfully boots up the default mode network. This is not a fundamental glitch in your personality. This is a massive, intrinsic neurological system that activates the exact moment you stop actively focusing on the outside world. Under normal circumstances, it is supposed to be a quiet, soothing background process for daydreaming, creative wandering, and gentle memory consolidation. But for you, in the solitude of your bathroom, this vital network has been aggressively hijacked. It rapidly transforms from a peaceful resting state into a ruthless, high-speed, worst-case scenario machine. It methodically scans the raw data of your day, forcefully rewinds every minor social interaction, brutally dissects every fleeting glance, and harshly condemns your every single word. This is the true, deeply hidden anatomy of overthinking. You stand completely still under the warm water, yet your brain violently forces you to relive the awkward small talk, the slightly misinterpreted emails, the painful pauses in conversation. The profound exhaustion you felt earlier is not from physical exertion. It is the direct result of this massive, unseen cognitive workload. Your neurons are fiercely firing as if you are actively solving incredibly complex survival equations. You are desperately trying to predict why a coworker looked at you strangely, or what that sarcastic comment truly meant. This hyperactive internal theater is entirely consuming your precious metabolic energy. It turns your private sanctuary into a brutal courtroom where you are always the guilty party. But why does the brain actively choose to construct these specific, painfully aggressive simulations instead of a peaceful one? Why does the brain actively fight invisible ghosts? To understand this exhausting psychological phenomenon, we must look deeply through the powerful lens of the polyvagal theory. When your physical body finally relaxes under the warm water, your internal surveillance system violently shifts gears. During those supposedly casual networking events, awkward social gatherings, or brief office interactions, your nervous system was never actually relaxed. It was completely pushed out of a safe, socially connected, ventral vagal state. Instead, it was secretly and aggressively thrown into a highly mobilized sympathetic response. You are silently trapped in a profound state of fight or flight. This intense biological shift happens because of an ancient subconscious neural mechanism known scientifically as neuroception. Your body is constantly scanning the external environment for subtle signs of safety or hidden danger, operating far below the level of your conscious awareness. In the modern Western culture, relentless small talk, complex office politics, and the immense pressure of enforced social perfection, your neuroception frequently misreads the social signals. It mistakenly interprets a slightly furrowed brow from a passing colleague as a sign of extreme, immediate hostility. It deeply perceives a politely delayed email response as a literal, physical, servile tyranny. The violently beating heart, the clenched jaw, and the shallow breathing you experience in the shower are not signs of a weak, fragile personality. They are the intense, delayed physical discharge of accumulated adrenaline from a massive, continuous falsa alarm. Your autonomic nervous system simply does not care at all about maintaining your professional reputation or your graceful social image. It only profoundly cares about keeping you physically alive and what it perceives as a hostile wilderness. It is desperately trying to protect you from perceived modern predators who just happen to be holding coffee cups and discussing quarterly metrics. You are absolutely not cowardly, and your mind is not fundamentally broken. Your biology is simply executing a highly loyal, fiercely protective protocol based on deeply flawed, amplified data from your social surroundings. But if this hyperactive, misguided defense system is so terribly exhausting and entirely misplaced in our modern corporate world, why has human evolution allowed it to so powerfully persist inside your DNA? Because this profound mental wargaming is actually an incredibly rich evolutionary heritage. You are absolutely not a genetic mistake. You are currently running the most sophisticated risk assessment algorithms known to human biology. Long before the exhausting era of corporate networking, forced team building, and polite emails, our early ancestors survived strictly by predicting the hidden actions of unseen predators. The people who casually relaxed by the fire and naively assumed every rustling leaf was just the wind did not survive the harsh realities of the ancient world. The ones who survived and successfully passed on their DNA were the chronic overthinkers. They were the highly sensitive individuals who constantly simulated worst-case scenarios in the dark of the cave. They deeply analyzed every single micro-expression of a neighboring tribe member to detect early signs of deception. This intense HY person-sensitivity was never a mental illness or a social flaw. It was a spectacular biological tool for absolute survival. You are the direct descendant of the most observant, vigilant, and strategically cautious humans to ever walk the earth. Your ability to vividly imagine a complex future conflict while standing completely alone in the shower is a profound strategic advantage. It is a highly advanced, flawlessly executed biological program specifically designed to keep your entire tribe completely safe. You are not fundamentally weak for feeling physically overwhelmed by the chaotic, overlapping social signals of a modern cocktail party. You are just heavily overqualified for it. You are naturally equipped to read the microscopic shifts in eye contact, the slight changes in vocal tone, and the hidden physiological tension in a crowded room. You are the sentinel of humanity. Your brain possesses an ancient, magnificent soot power that is simply being deployed in the entirely wrong century. Your nervous system is valiantly trying to protect you from a deadly tiger that just happens to look exactly like a passive-aggressive middle manager. This profound scientific realization changes absolutely everything about how you view your own identity. The heavy, crushing burden of social shame finally begins to gently lift off your shoulders. But if you cannot easily rewrite millions of years of deeply ingrained human evolution through sheer willpower alone, how do you practically stop this ancient alarm system from entirely destroying your modern peace of mind? You cannot think your way out of a deeply rooted biological survival response. You cannot use your rational, logical mind to successfully fix a panicked, hyperactive mind. This is the exact moment you must completely stop arguing with your own brain. Instead of fighting the intense internal simulation, you must actively use the profound clinical power of solmetric regulation. The ultimate solution is never found in complex cognitive logic, forced positive affirmations, or endless self-criticism. The true solution is deeply embedded within the microscopic physical architecture of your body. When the imaginary argument in the shower reaches its absolute peak intensity, you must intentionally shift your awareness downward. Focus your mind entirely on the immediate, undeniable sensory data of the present moment. Feel the precise, comforting temperature of the water cascading heavily down your neck and shoulders. Notice the solid, unyielding weight of your feet firmly pressing against the wet tiles of the floor. This seemingly simple act is a profoundly effective technique of physical grounding. By deliberately directing your conscious attention to your physical sensations, you are actively sending a powerful bottom-up safety signal directly to your primitive nervous system. You are physically, tangibly proving to your frantic body that there is no actual predator standing in the room. Take a slow, deliberate breath in, hold it for just a second, and let it out with a long, controlled sigh. This highly specific breathing pattern mechanically stimulates the vagus nerve, gently pulling your entire biological system back into a calm, socially engaged ventral vagal state. You are essentially holding your own hand through the psychological chaos. You are providing the vital internal co-regulation that your deeply frightened biology so desperately needs. You absolutely do not need to intellectually resolve the fake conflict. You simply need to physically turn off the alarm. Let the warm water wash over you and allow your tense muscles to consciously drop their heavy defensive armor. The perceived threat is simply not real. You are physically undeniably safe right here in this quiet, isolated space. But what truly happens to your fundamental sense of identity when you finally decide to surrender the relentless, exhausting need to always appear socially flawless? What truly happens to your fundamental sense of identity when you finally decide to surrender the relentless, exhausting need to always appear socially flawless? You step off the stage. Modern Western culture forces a rigid, highly extroverted script upon you. It relentlessly demands constant networking, endless small talk, and a perfectly curated public persona. You have spent your entire adult life desperately trying to flawlessly perform this exhausting role. But true psychological liberation begins the exact moment you willingly let go of this artificial social script. You are profoundly allowed to be quiet. You are beautifully, undeniably imperfect. This is the profound practice of radical acceptance. It is not about aggressively fixing your conversational skills or forcefully changing your natural temperament. It is about embracing the deep, quiet reality of your existence. You do not need to constantly produce clever remarks to validate your worth. The constant striving for social perfection is the heaviest chain you currently wear. When you step out of the shower and look in the mirror, you must make a profound existential choice. You must construct a new, compassionate narrative identity based on who you actually are. You are a complex, deeply observant human being. You are absolutely not a broken extrovert. You are a biologically intact individual with a magnificent inner world. You finally experience genuine einen freedom when you completely stop apologizing for your own nervous system. You do not need to brilliantly win the imaginary argument. You just need to gracefully surrender the fight. The water finally stops. The bathroom is perfectly silent once again. But this time, your mind is also beautifully still. You no longer need to wage a brutal war in an empty room. The next time you stand in a crowded, noisy room, feeling completely out of sync, gently pause. Do not judge your racing heart. Simply smile inwardly at your own nervous system. Deeply recognize its profound, ancient effort to protect you. This gentle recognition is not just a psychological shift. It is a biological awakening. You are stepping out of the evolutionary shadows. The complete cessation of your chronic mental exhaustion happens the exact moment you stop blindly reacting to false alarms. True healing is a quiet internal revolution. It is a profound transformation of how you relate to your own biology. You do not need to fix yourself because you are never broken. Take a slow, deep breath right now. Feel the solid ground beneath your feet. The intense battle was entirely in your head, right here in this exact physical space. No one is attacking you. The ultimate truth of your existence is incredibly simple. You are always safe. This deep, quiet self-knowledge is your absolute free walm. Try closing your eyes for just one moment. Silently thank your magnificent protective brain, and then peacefully let it rest. You are safe.